Hi, this is Tony Sagami. Hey, if you live in a big city, you probably think you have some traffic problems, but you haven't seen anything until you got into some of Asia's biggest cities. The traffic in Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, Manila, Bangkok is unbelievable. But I thought I saw traffic jams, but the granddaddy of all traffic jams was just in Beijing and just recently finished up. There was a line of cars and trucks that snaked for 60 miles, and the traffic was so bad that this traffic jam lasted for 10 days. Yep, 10 days. This traffic jam was so huge that industrious entrepreneurs started using their bicycles to weave in between traffic and were selling bottles of water and boxed lunches to these stranded motorists. Water bottles of water, which normally went for 1 yuan, were going for 10 yuan. That's about $1.50. That may not sound much to you and me, but that's a fortune in China. And the reason for the delay is that these roads were, well, the first reason is they were doing some road construction to expand it. That's the official reason. But you know what the real problem was, is that this Beijing-Tibet highway, also called G110, G110, is clogged with trucks carrying coal from Inner Mongolia. You see, there were some recently discovered coal deposits in Inner Mongolia, and now Inner Mongolia is the largest coal-producing region in China. And so this Beijing-Tibet highway is just filled with trucks carrying that coal back and forth. And the reason for that is pretty simple. China gets 70% of its electricity from coal-fired utility plants. So China has a voracious appetite for coal, and this traffic problem is not going to change. They also are building railroad tracks to help facilitate that. But the reality is that coal can only get to Beijing through that one highway, and this traffic is going to be bad for a long, long time to come. I also might add that on the opposite side, going toward Mongolia, there were a lot of trucks filled with big giant blades and turbines for wind power. As rich as Inner Mongolia is with coal, it's also an extremely windy place, and so that's also a hotbed for wind technology. But the point is that coal is a very important piece of China's growth puzzle, and there's several ways you could invest in Chinese coal. And the first is Yangshao Coal. That ticker is YZC, and it's the largest coal producer in China. It's a big blue chip worth about 13 billion market cap, and it does have the largest coal reserves, proven reserves, of any company in China. And it's certainly one that you might want to take a look at if you want to play the big boys in coal. Another company that you might look at is Puda Coal. And that ticker, it's also here on the U.S. exchange, is PUDA. And unlike Yangshao, which deals with low-grade heating coal, they specialize in high-grade metallurgical coal that's used to make steel. And so they have a very different niche. And they, too, because of that, they play more into the construction boom as opposed to the utilities that Yangshao does. And lastly, one that I would take a close look at, and is a very under-the-radar company that very few people know about, is Sinoclean Energy. And that ticker is SCEI, SCEI. They do something very unique. They specialize in what's called a coal-water mixture, or CWM. What this is, it's a very vicious, heavy mixture of ground-up coal, water, and chemicals. And this is the reason for that. It's very useful because it can be stored and burned as a substitute for oil and gas for any furnaces or boilers that have been modified. So it has a very interesting but important play on power generation, and is perhaps one of the best bargains of these three because it sells for only 2 times cash flow. That's pretty cheap. So whether you want to play the heating energy with the Yangshao coal, the steel industry, the metallurgical grade with Puda coal, or this small little microcap that nobody knows about, Sinoclean Energy, those are all excellent ways to profit from that giant appetite for coal in China. Until next week, this is Tony Sagami signing off.